So we have major two questions. Which regulatory problems blockchain solves? For example, central banks can see banks' capital adequacy in real time and they need less regulations, perhaps. And which regulatory problems it raises? So, and how big are these problems and opportunities? So,
I sit on an advisory board to the Ontario Securities Commission, which is our equivalent of the SEC. So on one side, they're looking at enforcement and regulations and guidelines for how does this fit into a regulated framework. On the other side, they're really interested in how can they become adopters of this technology, get more real-time access to the data rather than forcing compliance as a secondary process.
ABN AMRO is implementing blockchain for their commercial real estate leasing platform in the Netherlands. It allows the regulators to oversee the portfolio quality in real time. This can help them save up to 200,000 work hours.
One of the things that I think is now a verified project is Crypto Ruble.
Oh, yeah.
And Crypto Ruble has a 13% tax structure essentially programmatically developed inside the blockchain. So, these are precedents that I think are going to be very impactful.
So from a regulator's perspective, I think there's an enormous opportunity for this to be the enabler of them kind of putting themselves out of business, which is like the dream, right? If regulation and enforcement of regulation can be programmatic and algorithmically enforced rather than human enforced with SEC auditors and IRS auditors and all of these layers and layers of government regulators that have to come in and verify that you're actually being honest and forthcoming with your activities as a business. The goal here would be to make regulations programmatically written and enforcement algorithmically kind of enforced so that you can remove all these inefficiencies. And
Self-regulations is better than external regulations. We have to come down to a standard that an industry accepts.
My objective to see in the industry is to see that there's sufficient responsible behavior happening internally to the industry that these external regulators don't feel obligated to step in. The mature niche technologies like Ethereum, like Bitcoin, like some of these longer lasting networks that are out there, I think it would be inappropriate for them to be treated as securities or commodities. And I think we need to create a new framework for ourselves that applies a new set of rules. If not, we're going to put ourselves in a really tight corner.
And one area that's of extremely high importance at the moment is the custody chain. So I think the current industry standard in ICO is please send Ether to my private wallet. The ability for institutional capital to move in at scale is gated by custody.
The problem is that we're facing is that when people actually disclose, who actually verifies the quality of it? And if people do submit some kind of fraudulent information, what's going to happen to those people? They're going to go to jail? With public companies, normal public companies on New York Stock Exchange, we have auditors, we have lawyers verifying the quality of product.
I think it's our subconscious that we always associate compliance with having like somebody to control us, right? A central point of authority, right? Blockchain is the first opportunity to kind of have the community to self-control itself, right? Like everyone within the space, they're reading the white paper, investing in it, deciding what matters, what not. And
the individuals themselves, the investors in these projects, through Telegram and Slack and so forth, you can get an amazing amount of information about the principles and what's going on, the use of proceeds and so forth. It's quite fascinating, unlike any information you would have ever gotten in an IPO.
Market forces tend to solve a lot of these things also. I mean, you look at the ICO market today versus even 3 months ago, and the expectations and thresholds placed on projects has gone up dramatically. Like what you could have gotten away with at the beginning of this kind of ICO, acceleration over the last maybe 6 months, you wouldn't get away with anymore, right? Like now you've got projects imposing on themselves with or without SRO frameworks. I think it's good that we start creating that structure because now everybody's kind of making their best guess at what should I do.